Right, Martin here with another GCSE revision video. Unfortunately today it's the A word, the dreaded A word, algebra, on the menu today. But hopefully after this video you'll feel a little bit more confident about it, and once you feel a bit more confident about these equations then they don't become so bad. So we're going to look at solving equations with variables on both sides. So that means by the end of the video hopefully you should be able to solve an equation like this, where you've got x's on both sides, or if you had y's on both sides. To start off with though, we're going to just go over solving equations with the variable on one side. So that would be an equation like this, okay? It's really important that you get these down, okay? So 4x minus 2 equals 22. This is the first example we're going to do. Now what that actually means, let's put that into English. Let's say I think of a number, multiply it by 4, so I have x because I don't know what the number is. I multiply it by 4, that's 4x, take away the 2, 4x minus 2, and the answer is 22. That means it equals 22. So how do we solve this? Well, we need to work backwards, okay? So remember, I thought of a number, I times it by 4, I took away 2, and it equaled 22. So instead of taking away the 2, I'm going to add the 2 instead. It's working backwards. So I just want to get that x all on its own. So as I said in that previous slide, solving for x means I want to find what x equals. So I want to end up having x equals whatever the number is going to be. So that minus 2 is getting in the way of me having that x all on its own. So instead of taking off the 2, I work backwards. I add the 2 because it's the opposite of taking away the 2. But you have to do the same to both sides, okay? Imagine like a set of scales. If you add 2 kilograms onto one side, you have to add 2 kilos onto the other. So if I add 2 to minus 2, it's gone, okay? You have £2, you're £2 overdrawn, you add £2 in, you're on £0. But because I've added it to the left hand side, I have to add it to the right hand side. So it just means I end up with 4x equals 24. Now I have to think of a number. When I times it by 4, it gives me 24. Yet again, I'm going to work in the opposite way. Instead of multiplying by 4, I divide by 4. So if I divide the left hand side by 4, it just leaves me with the x. But whatever I do to the left hand side, I have to do it to the right. So if I do 24 divided by 4, it gives me 6. So my answer is x equals 6. So you're not convinced? Don't believe me that x equals 6? Well, you may not like algebra, but one of the things I think is really good about it is that you can always substitute your answers back in and be confident that you're correct. So 4x minus 2, well 4x means 4 lots of x, so that's 4 lots of 6, that's 24, take off the 2, it's 22. So we're correct, fantastic. Right, so really do work on those ones where you've got to solve equations with the variable just on one side. It's really important you can get that bit first. If you can understand that bit, then this bit doesn't become as hard, okay? There's just an extra step we have to do at the beginning. So, I said we'd be able to solve an equation like this, 3x plus 5 equals 5x minus 10, so let's have a go at it. So why are these harder? So we've got x's on both sides now, so it was quite hard when we had x's just on one of the sides, but now we've got x's on both sides. So let's see how we're going to do this. We can cope though, right? Stay calm, we can cope. So, we can get all the variables on one side, and then it just becomes exactly like the type of equation I was solving before. So if we got 3x plus 5, 5x minus 10, I want to get it so I have all the x's on one side of the equation. So what I do is I look at the side which has the least number of x's. Okay, left hand side I have 3 of them, right hand side I have 5 of them. So obviously it's the left hand side that has the fewest number of x's. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 3x from both sides. Remember, if I take 3 kilos off a set of scales, as long as I take it off the other end, it still balances. So I take 3x off the left hand side. Okay, I've not done anything with the numbers. I've not done anything with the 5. Okay, and yet again, I'm going to take 3x off here. I'm not doing anything with the minus 10, so I'm just looking at the x's at the moment. So if I have 3 x's and I take 3 of them away, I'm left with none of them. So on the left hand side, I just have a 5. On the right hand side, I take away 3 x's. Well, I initially had 5 of them. I take 3 of them away. I'm left with 2. So I just write 2x minus 10. I haven't done anything with the numbers yet, just dealing with the letters, these variables. So this means I have 5 equals 2x minus 10. So now it's exactly the same as what we were doing before. Okay, this is just an equation with the variable just on one of the sides. Okay, now if you really don't like the fact that your x is actually on the right hand side, you can write 2x minus 10 equals 5. Okay, we're just going to go ahead with it as it is. So I want to get rid of that minus 10. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 10 to both sides. Imagine you've got your £10 overdrawn. You add £10 back in, it takes you to 0. It will just leave that 2x all on its own. So if I add 10 to 5, it's 15. And if I add 10 to the right hand side, it just leaves me with the 2x. Okay, now this just means what do I have to times by 2 to make 15? The opposite of timesing by 2, of course, is dividing by 2. So instead of doubling, we half. So half of 15 is 7.5 or 7.5 if you like. Okay, don't get scared that the fact it's a decimal. Okay, these answers you can have decimal answers in these. Okay, so I've done a lot of work. Now it's time for you to do some of the work. Here's 3 questions for you to have a go at. What's going to happen is after this slide, I've then got a slide full of hints. So have a go at them. If you're really struggling, the next slide has a lot of hints for you on to help you solve these, and then the following slide is the answers. So pause the video, have a go at these. The next slide is going to be some hints, and the next slide is going to be the solutions. Okay, so if you're struggling still, here's some hints for you. So the first one, take 4x from both sides. For the second equation, subtract 6y from both sides, and on the final one, if you add 2z to both sides, that will help you solve these equations. Okay, and then if you want to pause the video again and have another go, the following slide there's going to be some answers on. Okay, let's have a look at the answers. So x equals 5, the first one, y equals 3.5. Remember, don't be scared of the decimals, there can be decimal answers. And the final one, z equals 2. Okay, if you're struggling with that still, don't know how I got them, please leave some comments in the box below, or any other questions you want, any comments, any feedback is greatly appreciated. Not long now to your exams. Please keep revising. It's really important. You're nearly there. A lot of you just, you're almost there. Just keep putting that final effort and you will get that C that you do crave. Okay, this is Martin. Thank you very much.